We are less than 2 weeks away from Summer Game Fest 2023, where we will get the gameplay trailer for Mortal Kombat. It's been confirmed by another people now, including Ed Boon. We finally got Mr. Ed's blessing on that, so we know that it's coming for us. And of course, the leaks keep coming, right? The leaks are flowing, and we have a huge leak, huge leak. They list the roster, they list cameos, give other details. So let's get right to it because it's a lot. So this is for MK1 leak info dump from not Jez Gordon, or is it Jez Gordon? It goes on to list the roster, and I'm gonna go through the characters. And when I edit, I'm gonna have to kind of break it up because it's a lot. But starting off, we have Fire God Liu Kang, which we kind of already know that. Kung Lao, Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Sonya Blade, Smoke. Smoke fans, we will get Smoke back. Kano, Johnny Cage, Katana, Melina, Rain, Serena, okay, Baraka, Reptile, Kinchi, Sindel, Havoc, Reiko, Tanya, Natara, Oraicho, Li Mei, Astra, Shujinko, Goro, just Shao, not a con anymore, just Shao, Shang Tsung, and then we kind of get into other things, but just real quick on the roster. So I've talked about in previous videos, there's supposedly, people thought there was going to be a leak for Sonya Blade and Kano. I don't know if they're going to be back. They should, they are. I don't know if they will be back in the way we know them before. That's kind of a big thing with this right now. It's another universe. It's a new era. Liu Kang has made stuff the way he's molded in the way he wants. So the characters of old may not be the characters of old anymore. They may be different than what we remember them like. So, I don't know if Kano would really be around. Is he going to actually be a good guy now? Scorpion and Sub-Zero getting along. Does that mean Sonya Blade and Kano are going to get along now? That's kind of a different dynamic. We know Johnny Cage is coming. We know he's going to have the skin for Jean-Claude Van Damme. We saw Katana Melina. We know they're there. Rain, we've talked about in previous leaks where Rain has been listed. Now, Serena, I don't know if Serena would be in there. When we started getting to Mortal Kombat 4 characters and characters from the 3D era, that's where it kind of gets whatever. Like, are we really going to have all these characters in there again? So, Serena, Moraicho, Li Mei, Astra, Shujinko, I don't know if those characters really will make it over. Now, I do think, if this was, if we, I know Ed Boon says this is not a continuation of Aftermath, but if we are to think a little bit that way, as if I kind of think of it more of like Flashpoint, like with the Justice League in DC, where he's redoing the universe, so we're starting back at 1. We don't know necessarily where in the timeline we're starting back at. So, maybe in this new timeline, maybe these guys exist in some form or fashion. This will be very interesting to see. So Lee goes on to talk about cameos and lists all these cameos. There's more cameos than there are in the roster list, guys. And I find that hard to believe, but maybe so. Maybe some of these characters will just be for cameo purposes only and not actual playable characters like within the story mode of the game. Now, we know that a lot of characters that are playable will also be cameos, so it's kind of a weird way to do it. But let's go through the cameos. So we have Scorpion and Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Raiden, the Great Kung Lao, not Kung Lao, just the Great Kung Lao, Smoke. Then we got Shao Kahn. So first it's Shao, and now it's Shao Kahn. With these leaks, take it with a grain of salt, guys. Got Katana Melina, Shang Tsung, Kinchi, which of course he was mentioned before. We got Li Mei, Baraicho, Astra, Rain, Tanya. A lot of fans want Tanya. Natara, a lot of Natara fans. Jax, first time I've seen Jax on here. Jade, Cabal, Jarek. So you're trying to lose me. Nightwolf, Aaron Black, Draman, Kotal Khan, Serena, Shinnok, Fujin, Scarlet, Hotaru, Kai, Suhao, Shiva, Sector, Cyrax, Frost, Kira, Cobra. A lot of y'all did not want Cobra to come in the game. Dairu, Jarrus. As soon as I saw Jarrus on this list, I was like, okay. Unless Jarrus has redeemed himself, why would Liu Kang bring him back? But we'll see. Chameleon, the male chameleon, Devora, Motaro, still waiting on my Devora Melina revenge, Kintaro, and Onaga. So that is our cameos, and I don't know really what to think about that. That list is humongous. I think that's way too many cameos. I don't think we need all those cameos. I don't think that list is realistic enough. I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't think that's enough. And then on top of that, we got a combat pack, and we're gonna have more combat packs. So of the combat pack listed, we have Homelander, surprise, surprise, Quan Chi, because when I saw Serena, I thought we're gonna have Quan Chi, or if there's Shinnok, there's no Quan Chi. Ermac, Omni-Man, Takeda, and I've seen a lot of people in my comments. This is the Takeda from the Lin Kuei area. This is Takeda, like the Combat Kid. I think this is the Combat Kid. Peacemaker, Johnny Cage, Chameleon, the female, Farah and Tor, which before we just saw Farah, Mavado, and Trimmer. It says certain cameos will be unlocked at the start. The majority of the others will have to be unlocked via the Conquest mode. So I think that's very interesting. So I like that aspect of it. I do think that that makes it interesting, and I like that while that cameo list seems really long, if you can only unlock them while going through the crypt or the conquest, whatever they want to call it, and having to do certain things to make them unlock, then I'm kind of cool with that. I love that. That kind of makes it, give more longevity to the game, and they don't have to all put it out at once. I guess if you explore certain areas and they get unlocked as the game goes on, I think that'd be great. Now, one thing I noticed on this list, I don't see any Noob Saibot. Now, I know that with Liu Kang restoring the universe the way he did, Bihan is the Sub-Zero that we have, so there's really kind of no need for Noob Saibot, I guess. So I noticed that in all the lists I've seen so far, there has been no Noob Saibot that I've seen so far. But that's not to say that that won't change. Never know. So, other details that this leak says is Conquest mode has been overhauled. Explore Earthrealm, Outworld, and Adenia as a Shaolin monk on a quest given to him by their fire god Liu Kang that leads into the main story mode. During the quest, you'll find iconic and familiar faces from all of Mortal Kombat history and have to prove yourself in combat. Beating these warriors will unlock them as cameos. Completing side quests reward the player with in-game currency to spend in the in-game store. So when I read the line about Fire God Liu Kang, where he's giving you the quest, that kind of spoke to me where the ending scene of Aftermath. Again, I know Ed Boon has said there's something to do with Mortal Kombat 11, but I still think it's related somehow. Has to be. I mean, if Fire God Liu Kang is carried over, how could he not? It's just a reboot, so it's more of like, I think of it like the Star Wars show that had all the different animations and stories being told. Still in the same overall Star Wars universe, just, told in different ways. So I think this is kind of the same concept. Or it's taking more of the path of Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, where you had the kind of the messed up reality for Kano. Spoiler alert. So, anyways, I saw that and I immediately thought about the scene where we see Fire God Liu Kang, who we think is talking to the Great Kung Lao, but maybe it wasn't the Great Kung Lao. Maybe it was a playable character for the Conquest mode, and maybe that's what we're really looking at. And I think that's kind of cool. I think that would be great. I think I would love that. I think that'd be great. I think, all right, Earthrealm Warrior, I'm tasking you to go find what I need and do my stuff and learn about Mortal Kombat. I'm like, you got it, dude. I'm on my way. Let's go. So, next up it says, Dragon Towers are an ever-changing rotation of the challenging towers with different objectives, challenges, and attributes per tower that reward players with new cosmetics for playable combatants. The crypt returns, set in a long-forgotten graveyard hidden deep within the depths of the living forest in Outworld. So I did want to talk about that just for a little bit because I noticed that in a Reddit forum I read recently that, of course, it's from Mortal Kombat Leaks. This user, Dr. Purpleman, posted, remember the so-called Crypt Living Forest multiplayer expansion data mine that was found for Mortal Kombat 11? He says, I don't think those files were ever intended for as a Mortal Kombat 11 expansion, but as testing bed for Mortal Kombat 1's Crypt mode. And now we know exactly what to expect. So there's that, and then a commenter on that forum, Pretty Mr. Toasty, he says, that actually makes a lot of sense. NetherRealm has been expanding the crypt mode in each of the previous games. Makes sense that they continue doing so far for Mortal Kombat 1. Multiplayer features could be unique and fun, or they could also be just another gimmick. Very curious to see how that turns out. So it's interesting that we have this in this leak, and then we have it kind of being discussed in another forum. Maybe they're related, maybe that's the leaker. The person in the Reddit, Dr. Purple Man, is actually the leaker for this leak. Who knows? But I like the idea that the crypt is going to expand into a new place, and obviously with the living forest, we know that that's related to smoke. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if we actually do get that, and if we actually get these characters. As I said, I think this is a long list. I personally like with the roster. I understand that there are characters that fans want in the game, regardless of what the story is for. But to me, I enjoy the game more when, you know, I enjoy the game more when there are players in the game that go with the story. So a lot of the ones that we saw in the beginning, I'm sure they have some part of the story to play. So I love to see that. But then when you throw in like kind of random characters that I don't know what they would be for, like Serena and I don't know, in some cases Havoc. I love to see Havoc in the game, but what is he going to be there for? And like Shao, why? Well, I mean, I guess it could be kind of interesting to see Shao Kahn not as a Khan. You know, we've never really seen him like that, so I guess that would be kind of interesting. But I just don't know if they have enough. I mean, are you able to tell all of that in one game, or is this gonna be like, are we gonna do like a multi-part Mortal Kombat game? You know, that's kind of interesting. But what do you think about this leak? What do you think about the roster? What about the lengthy cameo list? What do you think about the idea of unlocking characters from the cameo list in the Konquest mode? What do you think about possibly the the scene from Aftermath where we see Fire God Liu Kang, who we think is talking to the Great Kung Lao, actually be, as this leak says, a Shaolin monk given a quest by Fire God Liu Kang? What do you think about that idea? And again, going back to the combat pack, what do you think about Homelander, Omni-Man, Peacemaker being added to the list? Love your thoughts in the comments down below. That's it for this video, guys. Enjoy that like button. If you want more, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.